Hello, everybody. Welcome into week 4 of the Telegram Basketball Insiders. I'm Josh Walfish, joined today by my special guest photographer, Abbi O'Leary. Foster not feeling too well today. He gamed it out, went to the Big East Wrestling Championships, but not available to do this video. So Abbi was there last night taking photos, so we'll get her photographer's perspective on things. We'll start with the girls. Last night, Northern Nash, a big win for them over Wilson Hunt. Slow first half, used their smothering defense to cause a lot of turnovers, easily run away from the Warriors. But they're trying to top the conference with Nash Central, a team that you were at the Christmas tournament, looked vastly overmatched against Rocky Mount High, but they beat the Griffons again for the second straight time in the regular season last night. What was the difference in your eyes between the Christmas tournament and the game last night?
They were way more organized last night. They were actually able to drive it to the basket and make some shots. And, you know, at the Christmas tournament, they were not playing like a team. They were all over the place. They were not communicating well. You know, the coach was having to pull them off. Can't even remember her name. I apologize.
It's okay, Terry. We love you.
Thank you, Terry. Pulling off and refocus them. They just were not focused. Last night was a completely different story. They were absolutely focused. They knew their plays. They knew what they were going to do before they got back onto the court, and they just looked like a completely different team from the last time I photographed them.
Well, next week going to be a big week for them. They'll have Wilson Fike on Tuesday. They'll play Southern on Wednesday. I don't expect too many difficulties given how poorly Southern has played this season. And then they got Northern Nash next Friday night. And that's going to be a massive game. The Knights won an overtime affair last week at Northern Nash. So curious to see how those two teams are going to match up at Nash Central. The other girls team we're going to talk about, we'll give you a little breather here, Abbi. Southwest Edgecombe, a team that's really surprised me. They looked like they had the potential to do some damage in the Eastern Plains Conference when I saw them in their conference opener against Washington. But, you know, they were turning the ball over. They were making bad passes. It just looked very sloppy. But here we are now, you know, almost more than halfway through the conference season. They're 4-2. Their only 2 losses are to North Pitt, who's ranked, I believe, at last check, 6th in the state at 2A, 18-1. 6-0 in the Eastern Plains, but they've beaten everybody else in the Eastern Plains at least once. I think Coach Sandra Langley has finally gone through to her girls, and they could be one of those teams that is a tough out just because of how much talent they have, even if they don't always show it or play up to their potential. Staying in Edgecombe County, Tarborough's boys team, a difficult week for them. They had an opportunity to go atop the Two Rivers Conference with a perfect 3-0 stretch this week. They did not do it. They went 1-2, beating Rocky Mount Prep on Tuesday, but losing both games in agonizing fashion to Riverside Martin. Coach Reggie Bess, hoping for a strong end to the season. They still have to play Northampton and North Edgecombe next week, but those are 2 must-win games if Tarboro wants to assert their dominance in the Two Rivers. And Abbi will bring you back into the conversation when we talk Big East boys. Northern Nash won last night. Rocky Mount High won last night. Wilson Fike won last night. So that means there's absolute chaos in the Big East in the boys division. A 3-way tie at the top between Nash Central, Southern Nash, and Wilson Fike. Wilson Hunt's 3-3. Rocky Mount High is now 2-3. Northern's 2-4. It's absolutely crazy. But for you, we'll talk about Nash Central. What went wrong for them last night against Rocky Mount High?
Well, you know, they were looking pretty good in the first half. It was, you know, both teams looked really focused, really polished, and, you know, Nash Central left the first half with 1 point ahead of Rocky Mount High, and Rocky Mount High came back and they fought hard and they gave it their all, and you could tell that they wanted it. And, you know, the crowd, there was a lot of energy going on. It almost felt like state championships all over again, except for basketball now. So I don't know. They brought it in the second half, and Nash Central just could not return it. They couldn't come back.
You know, it's nice to see the student support for Rockmont High. It's been a trying season for Coach Mike Gainey and that squad, but they have 2 big victories. They beat Northern Nash on Wednesday. They beat Nash Central last night, obviously, so they are moving in the right direction. And part of that is, as Foster mentioned in his article in today's paper, was he really turned up the heat in practice. And is one of those things that his players seem to respond to being challenged a little bit more, playing the JV team in scrimmages, really kind of putting more expectations, more pressure on them, and they've responded very well. And I'll be curious to see, because Mike Haney is a very, very good basketball coach. And if he can get his players believing in themselves, and they can get them on a little bit of a roll here, they could be one of those teams that prevents Northern Nash or Southern Nash or Nash Central or Fike or Hunt, any one of the other 5 schools from actually making the playoffs as an at-large, because they'll have just one too many loss. Or who knows, maybe Rocky Mount High makes the playoffs because they go on a magical run in the Big East tournament and win it all. And they have a big week next week as well, facing both Wilson Fike and Wilson Hunt. So that will do it for us here at the Telegram Basketball Insiders. Check back in next week. Hopefully we'll be beat me and Foster again. Abby, thank you so much for joining us in a pinch, and have a safe drive home.